Okay, so everyone can see what the title says. Now I'm going to explain what I'm talking about. So, one of the hardest things, but also the most joyous things about working my way to the physique that I want and continually getting lean along the way is that after you lose a significant amount of weight and a significant amount of body fat, and you start taking care of yourself and you start eating right and you start counting your calories and you start meal prepping and you start exercising the way you're supposed to and you start lifting heavier and you start doing all of the things that everybody talks about online, and then you really start seeing results. At least in my case, when I looked back at what I let myself turn into and how far I had let myself go, it was such an emotional moment for me because I felt so much shame and so much guilt at that point that I literally started weeping for myself. Now, I'm not the type of person that cries in front of people. That's just not what I do. But I don't see nothing wrong with weeping when you're alone. Not coming to the internet to weep, not coming to the internet to cry. But if you really look back at yourself, if you let yourself go to the extent that I let myself go, you're going to understand that like the shame and the guilt that's going to come with that is going to be overwhelming. But then after that passed, I realized that I basically saved my life. I saved my life to start off with because I was headed to type 2 diabetes. I was headed to heart problems. I was headed to all kind of problems, kidney problems, high blood pressure, all of those type of things. And then I realized I not only saved my life, but I am going to improve the rest of my life. And the rest of my life that I have here will be enjoyable. Now, since I've dedicated myself to becoming the best version of myself, to becoming lean, to taking care of myself, to getting healthy, other areas of my life started to improve. What do I mean by that? People start respecting me more. People started treating me a different way. I started treating me a different way. The things I used to tolerate when I was a fat slob and I felt horrible about myself, I'm not willing to tolerate no more. The things that I had to deal with people in business, all the things that I used to just tolerate because I just knew that I didn't feel good about myself and I wasn't a person that I would respect. So why should anyone else respect me? That's how I felt. Now that I've committed to myself, I've committed to the new lifestyle, I've transformed my mind and I'm transforming my body. I'm not the same person I used to be anymore. So I want to say this. When I was fat, and I was a pig, and all I was doing was just eating trash all day. And it got to a point to where I was eating pints of ice cream for breakfast, pints of ice cream for lunch, pints of ice cream for dinner. Then in the middle of that, if I wasn't working, just gooning all day long. That was my life. So how am I gonna respect myself? How is anybody else gonna respect me when I'm treating myself that way? And then I just woke up one day and I had saw what I had become, especially when I went to use the restroom and I couldn't see the thing that I was using the restroom with anymore. And I was like, this is it. Now, I hustled backwards in the beginning. I'm going to make a video about hustling backwards and what you should not do when you start this journey, opposed to what you should do. But all I'm going to say is this: your physical journey to getting lean and to getting the physique you want is actually a spiritual and mental health exercise cloaked as physical activity. I know you may not understand what I'm saying right now, and if you're in this process and you're locked in, you absolutely will. But I want to say that you're going to realize that you think this is physical, but in all actuality, it's more spiritual and more mental because the 99% of the problems that I thought that I had were imaginary. And 99% of them went away when I started taking care of myself. So I just want to give y'all a little bit of insight on what's going to happen if you start this process. If you stay in this process and you continue in this process, you're going to have ups and downs. Your emotions are going to change. You're going to have mood swings because your body's adjusting to everything. But I just want you to know it's totally normal. It's going to be okay. Stay the course, stay locked in, do the best you can, show up every day, and let the results speak for themselves and not worry about them. Thank y'all.